Hello, everyone. Welcome to Lunch with Laurie, where I schedule time with leaders in our industry to hear how they're navigating their career, get their perspectives on leadership, and really ask them about what's going on in the world today. Really, this goal is to help pique your interest and challenge your thinking. So today, my guest is Buket Grau. I am so excited to speak with her because she is one of my favorite people on the planet. So we posted Buket's bio, and I encourage you to read about her many accomplishments. For now, I'm just going to focus in on a few things so you can get a taste of Buket's brilliance. Buket is the head of corporate strategy at Biogen, and she brings with her over 20 years of strategy, commercial operations, and corporate development. She's held significant and diverse leadership roles across geographies and industry sectors, and she has held increasingly impactful roles at the HBA. She moved from being a local member all the way up to the chair of the global board of directors. And near and dear to her heart, she founded one of HBA's most important initiatives, Women in Science, among other major initiatives she led. And she did all of that while raising 3 children. She currently lives in the Boston area with her husband and 3 beautiful children, and I welcome her to lunch today. Hello, Buket.
Hello, Laurie. It's so wonderful to be here with you, and I thank you for that warm welcome.
Well, I meant every single word of it. You are one of my favorite people on this planet. And since many people will be listening to us over their lunch break, I like to open the conversation with this critical question. What's for lunch? And because you're originally from Turkey, what would be a typical favorite you would have on the lunch menu if you were back at home today?
Oh my goodness. So many wonderful choices. And I miss them. Probably it would be soup and salad for sure, lentil soup and salad, or rice with beans and pickles, or or baked potatoes stuffed with all different kinds of veggies.
Liking that. I'm starting to get hungry. So let's dig in.
Sure.
You have really held simultaneously some pretty significant roles at your daytime job, your volunteer roles, and you do that all while managing a young family. So what were the top tips that you used to manage this so well? Because I saw you just excel, and I'd like to know how you did it.
Sure. Happy to share a few tips, Laurie. I always start with prioritization. And, as a mother of, 3 young children, a professional life and a personal life, it's always been about triangulating choices and priorities on a regular basis rather than trying to, equally balance all of them together, right? And practicing prioritization has allowed me to be there for my family and fully engage in my job, follow my passion in, various areas with organizations like HBA. I also learned that prioritization means letting go of things and learning to say no. And particularly, it has become very critical, during the pandemic, where we're all navigating through many changes and new types of demands. And the second one is proactive planning. And I always look for ways to simplify my life so that I can focus on things that matter. And proactive planning is key, both on the work front as well as, personal front. So like I plan my weeks ahead, on both, work and personal fronts. And this includes thinking about the family events and the meals ahead. And I do not end the week without reviewing the progress and confirming my plans for the upcoming week. I start the day very early, and this is my quiet time for myself. It also allows me to prepare for the day. And so, I also find that when I proactively plan, it allows me to stay calm and focused while I navigate through, whatever comes up during the day, whether it's anticipated or unexpected. And the third thing is, really shutting down that guilt voice. Society is set up such that particularly women and caretakers are exposed to constant feeders of guilt. Then we find ourselves adapting our decisions and actions. So learning to let go these guilty feelings was an important step, especially for me, as a mother of 3 young children. It's about recognizing that this is noise, remember your purpose, and move forward. And the fourth one is building a trusted community and a network of advisors. Again, especially for someone like me, an immigrant without an extended family in the US, establishing this network and this trusted community, so that I could tap into for both personal and professional matters, have been important. And I have to call out HBA here. So volunteering with HBA has allowed me not only to strengthen my leadership capabilities, but also, provided me with access to amazing advisors, mentors, and to an inclusive community. So, so many thanks to HBA for tremendous support throughout my journey.
No, thank you, Buket. I always found you when you were the board chair, and we never knew what might be coming. So I think you're right. The planning for it helps you when something comes up to be able to quickly respond because you've already thought about what was important and what was on your list. But that piece I really want to go back to is that voice. We really have got to change that narrative, and we can change that narrative. And one of the things we can do for each other is to help each other change that narrative. So great guidance. The other thing that I observed about you is that diverse set of career experiences that you've had, I find that really gave you a very broad perspective on sort of any issue that came up. And I'm wondering how that helped you on your newest role, which is a big role at Biogen. And as you were going through this, did you have, because you're a very planful person, did you have a plan? Or in this case, were you open to opportunities so that you never know when those are going to arise? So I'd love to hear your strategy on that.
It's a great question. And you're absolutely right. So although I proactively plan, typically when it comes to my career, I have always been flexible and open-minded to new experiences. And I've showed willingness to take on totally new opportunities, right? Whether it's in a new sector or it's in an uncharted space, or again, it's a totally new role. And if I look back throughout my career, I've truly enjoyed like building teams and new capabilities and franchises, working closely with internal experts and external partners. And that's what I enjoy. So, and the other thing that I notice is that, I have always been open-minded about embracing risks and ambiguity, which really allowed me to grow as a leader. And it also allowed me to, do my best to stay relevant and agile in this dynamic environment and as new opportunities, come to surface. And I always ask 3 questions, like what value do I bring? What's the opportunity for impact is the first question. And second is what's the personal growth opportunity in terms of new experiences, capabilities to gain? And the third question is always what's the culture? What's the culture of the new company? Or if it's a new role, it's a new function, what's the culture there? And so the opportunities where there are, complex questions, challenges to address, or where I feel I will be pushed out of my comfort zone, or clearly there's an opportunity to innovate, those are the opportunities that have been the most appealing to me. And that's what shaped my decision making.
So again, it was structure, right, that helped you to think about the roles, but you were open to thinking about them.
Absolutely.
Right? So it was that nice balance. And you have been very successful. But I know personally, and I have heard this from every single woman, no matter how senior she is, you've had challenges that you face, whether it's in your personal or professional life. So if you would share, let's say, learnings that help shape your leadership and in the end for the better.
Yeah, Laurie, just like you said, like many of us, I have faced diverse set of challenges throughout my entire career. And I had a chance to also observe those around me who have dealt with major challenges. So that observation was also very insightful. And in the end, like they all I serve as, real world experiences, valuable like learning moments. But bottom line is they all validate, repeatedly a few leadership principles that I personally embrace. The first one is, building an environment of trust where everyone feels included and comfortable to speak their mind. This is one of the learnings that gets validated over and over again. So and this allows, right, this environment, safe environment, allows for rigorous discussions to be generated, creativity to be cultivated, and the best in all ideas, then can be heard. This also means less speaking and more listening for leaders. So that's one of the learnings. And the second one is, again, it is unexpected challenges, unanticipated events, staying calm and focus on what matters the most, having clarity around that is important. Equally, what's important is bringing the organization, the teams along with you with a solution-oriented mindset is essential. And what I've uncovered is like, my, kind of the fact that I embraced risks, in my career as a leader, it has prepared me to be effective in those situations. And the third one is, I think, which is also relevant for today's, environment, is empathic leadership. I believe fostering empathy with employees can lead to more engaged, collaborative, and resilient teams. And this could result in better understanding, the needs of your customers, the needs of the patients, and it could actually, create greater opportunity to drive meaningful innovation. And I don't believe empathic leadership is a weakness, right? Mm-hmm. And I do believe that, especially now, as leaders, we must role model empathy, with our people and with each other, as we navigate through the challenges with the pandemic. And the last one is, authentic commitment to growth and development. And I underline authentic. It's an authentic commitment to growth and development, not only for your people, but for yourself. And, the basics is ensuring there are clear development goals with tangible actions and accountabilities, and so that the growth is realized and embedded into everyday experiences. And as a leader, remembering that you should not deprioritize your own development, and you should continue to accept all kinds of feedback as a gift. So those are my key learnings that I fully embrace, as a leader.
Well, Buket, I mean, one of the things that I say on a regular basis is that if you do volunteer, that is one of the best ways to keep that growth mindset, because you don't even know all the different ways people come at a problem and their leadership techniques and all of those pieces. It really helps keep you learning all the time from, such a wide variety of leaders. And in seeing your leadership at the HBA, I mean, you were always an advocate for gender equity for as long as I've known you. And every organization you've joined, you made sure they were supportive of it. So what is it that drives your passion around gender equity?
Excellent question. I must say I've been passionate about gender equality since childhood. I grew up in Turkey, and I must say I was fortunate to have a family who always provided me with full encouragement, full support to follow my passion and, to pursue my career. And without any limitations imposed by old notions of gender. And I'm grateful for that. And we all have seen firsthand how gender equality plays a role in shaping future of one's life, but also shaping the society as a whole. And certainly there's been some progress. I mean, since United Nations, platform for action on gender equality. And I was reading a recent research, by Pew, about, they surveyed 34 countries, the public, and about 74% say it's very important for women to have equal rights to men in their countries. However, many think men have more opportunities than women when it comes to high-paying jobs. And 4 out of 10 think men should have greater rights to job when jobs are limited. And also, take it to the workforce, right? Within the context of the workforce, we have seen positive data, and over and over again, data that shows impact of gender equality on performance. Mm-hmm. Some research shows that when women are well represented at the top, companies are more likely to outperform their peers. There is progress. However, the progress is not enough, right? Unfortunately, gender equality is still up for debate today. It's not fully in effect, although it's fundamental to fairness. I believe the awareness that has been generated now needs to turn into real actions and sustainable results that we all together celebrate. And I also believe that, if we can establish gender equality and move forward, I believe humanity will have much greater capacity and speed to drive innovation in many other important areas and improve the world.
Well, Buket, one of the things you just said, I observed personally of you. So as you are leading in the role that you're in your organization, you have that balance of the scientific business mind, but you have that empathy. So I think that's why you've been so successful is your teams are drawn to you because they know you care about them, listen, you empower them, but you stay focused on the business. So they know this isn't, they're not going to the playground, right? They're coming for really important work. And you have that balance that is difficult to get to. So it's, it's something we all strive for. And, as we are seeing companies start to migrate right now, right? During the pandemic, everyone's working from home. Now right. People are starting to get back into the office, but we're having hybrid work. And, the definition of the workplace is changing, and that is definitely impacting women. So wondering what you think is going to happen from where you're sitting. What are you seeing?
Another excellent question. And clearly, there's tremendous pressure on women today, particularly caretakers and parents. And again, I was reading, research that is coming up, and one of the most recent, women in the workforce report by McKinsey called out very alarming, actually, insights. So for the first time, 1 in 4 women were considering stepping out of the workforce or downshifting their career. And senior level women are burning out at a higher rate than senior level men. And 1 in 3 mothers may be forced to scale back or opt out. And there are a diverse set of challenges, right, that might push women out of the workforce. And, this is as simple as having to be always on the call for work, feeling overwhelmed, right? And tremendous load of housework and caregiving burdens. And I think, there's some worries about performance judgments, right? Women might feel like, well, they're not right now well positioned to demonstrate their best, and they might be concerned about, performance judgments and assessments. When I look at it overall, it seems like the support networks integral to progress have been a little bit destabilized. And this like default cultural norms seem to be more pronounced during the pandemic, such that women are expected to make the tough choices, and some are compromising on their careers and they're opting out. So the concern is that this pandemic environment, even in the new way of working, could undo some of the progress achieved in terms of gender diversity and career progression of women. And I think this is a really critical time, right? All stakeholders, I encourage all stakeholders to work together to see this risk and to mitigate the risk of losing women in the workforce and in leadership roles, and allowing this transition to a new world, a new way of working, to be as seamless as possible for women. And, there are some practical things, right? Companies could do. They could think about flexible work arrangements. They could think about, creating, options and possibilities to have women move to different jobs, right, within the company. They could, provide support for, childcare services or some other major errands. And they could, be extra diligent about gender bias in performance assessments right now and succession planning. Like those are all, simple but tangible actions, the companies could consider taking right now to support women go through this transition, effectively. With all that said, like looking from the point where we have come from, I have full confidence that women will overcome these challenges of today and will continue to make a big difference.
Well, I definitely agree on that last point. And I think when you were speaking about companies do need to be aware and get proactive around this, because to lose your top talent is a very scary thing. Companies have been doing really diligent efforts to get more women at all levels, and now to have that scale back because of this would just be such lost ground. So I love that. And the one piece of good news I wanted to share with you is that we did a survey of our members, and the ones who were corporate partners with the HBA, they actually felt less likely to have to step away from their jobs. So just, hand clap for our corporate partners for being more proactive. And I hope the HBA is supportive in helping them think about that. So thank you, Buket, for having lunch with me today and sharing your wisdom. You are a perfect example of how someone can be doing, these big jobs all at the same time, and you always make room for that service component. And I thank you for that.
Thank you, Laurie. This has been a pleasure. And I also would like to take an opportunity to thank you for your outstanding leadership and service over the last several years as the HBA CEO. The organization has certainly excelled and made significant progress towards its mission. So I really thank you on behalf of all of us.
Oh, thank you, Buket.
Thank you. Great to see you, Laurie.
Good to see you. All right, everyone, please join me next month when I'll be chatting to Sharon Callahan, CEO of CDM. That's one of the world's leading healthcare advertising agency networks. And she's also the Chief Client Officer of Omnicom Health Group. And she's the 2019 Woman of the Year. This has been Lunch with Laurie. I hope this was nourishment that refueled your leadership tank. Until next time, bon appetit.